Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I am Mick Alphanim. Okay, so we're going to jump right into it here. We're going to talk a little bit about the Fed now systems, the IMF systems, whatever the West puts forward. Understand the world is not going to be using them to bridge all the currencies. That's not going to happen. You have to understand geopolitics. Right now, the West is pretty much at war with everyone else. They're all joining the Brics nations. If you've been following closely, you know. You have Saudi Arabia. Like, I'm going to show you the articles, okay? Chapters will be down below if you want to jump around and just see the articles. You have China is the leader right now. People are trading in yuan right now, renminbi right now. Russia is there. Saudi Arabia is like, hey, we're done dealing with the US. I'm going to show you that article. Brazil is like, hey, yeah, let's speed up the work on this common currency. I think I have that article in here. So many countries are signing up to be associates or members of Brics nations. They're not going to be using IMF systems or Fed now systems. So how are they going to be the agnostic bridge currency? How? With who? With who? This is about power. I'm going to show you. Let's start here. Firstly, IMF. Where's IMF's headquarters? So they're going to bridge, if they had a system and they're going to bridge all the currencies. Is that correct? Is this what people are trying to allude to? It says here, International Monetary Fund's headquarters, 700 19th Street, Northwest Washington, D.C. Let me tell you something. So listen, China is one of the most important importers and exporters of different things. China, they have a big problem with the United States right now because of Taiwan. Haven't you been hearing that? That's major. That's major. This is about power. Why do they have a problem with Taiwan? Well, first of all, China wants to push the one China agenda, just like they did with Hong Kong, right? They want to bring Taiwan in. But what's in Taiwan that's valuable? This all ties into the new financial system and why the new financial system is at the core and crux of world power and world domination. The people are not seeing how valuable the new financial system is. Yes, XRP. Listen, we'll get into that in a moment. All right. Taiwan is the major producer for semiconductors. They've been pushing the energy agenda everywhere, correct? Electric vehicles. There's a lot of power and control in that. Somebody's going to make a lot of money off of that. It's not just about saving the earth. They're going to make a lot of money off of that. So you have to control the semiconductors to control the future that they want to be the future of energy, right? And therefore you control the people. You control money. You control capital. You have to control the people, right? Listen, so Taiwan is a major producer of semiconductors. China wants to take that. The United States says, oh, no. And they even have, I mean, it's been unbelievable, but let's continue on here. So let me circle back around. We'll get back to that in a moment. The IMF, International Monetary Fund, is headquartered in Washington, D.C. China will not be using them to bridge all the currencies. Saudi Arabia is not going to be using them to bridge all the currencies. Brazil's not going to be using them to bridge their currencies. India is not going to be using them to bridge. Who's going to be using them? Africa is waking up and taking hold of their own power. I don't envision many of them, if they're going to do it for short term, but for long term, absolutely not. China is getting deep in Africa as well. Everyone's forming a union on this side. The West is becoming isolated. USA is becoming isolated. This is a fact that people have to, you can research it, look it up. Don't just take my word for it. But if people want to actually survive what's coming, it's not just about making generational wealth. The generational wealth is there to protect the people if it does indeed come. It's to protect the people so that those people who are wise enough to maybe, if everything goes according to plan, come by way of generational wealth, they don't have to suffer like everyone else may suffer, because there's no guarantees of anything, if all of this goes south. Now, why do I say that? So did you just keep up with all of the news where China had Taiwan surrounded? China had Taiwan surrounded, and the United States was saying, "Hey, we're sending ships over." Listen, that is a conflict that is very, very touchy right now, and China is they made peace between Iran and Saudi Arabia. They were crucial in that. I mean, there's so many levels that China is integral on. Keep in mind also, China supplies the West with most of its products. The West doesn't produce many things anymore. So if the West steps on China's toes, you really believe that they're going to use any of these countries that are associated with China and benefit greatly from China? You even hear France softening its stance on China. You hear a lot of European leaders softening their stance on China as well. Why? Because they know you step on China's toes too much, then they can punish you. All that sanction stuff is cute. That's cute. But China hasn't struck back like it could. They can cut the West off from all of those products that the West is importing. You check on the back of everything, it says made in China. They could cut you off. There's sanctions. And they haven't even begun to flex their muscle. That is something that a lot of individuals are not thinking about. So now circling back around to some digital currencies or system that they're pushing out, whether it's Fed now or IMF, once again, who's going to be using it? Who? They have the power for now. They can look good for now, but look at where everything is heading. That's what's important. The future. That's what's important. That's why these are long plays. And you can see where the world is going in the agnostic Brics currencies that are neutral down the middle, moving tons of that capital. But let's go on here. So then let's go on to this article here. So IMF is headquartered in Washington. Both of their buildings are there. I don't foresee the world using IMF systems to bridge everything together. No, that's XRP's job. That's XLM's job, because no one controls them. That's why that's important. But the holders of those protocol, when capital starts flowing through them and money starts being made, the holders of those protocol stand to possibly make generational wealth. It's as simple as that. It's complicated, but at the same time, it's not. In certain aspects. Let's go here to AP News. I want to show you China military ready to fight after drills near Taiwan. This is coming from AP News, so it's reputable. Who are they ready to fight? US. The US. So, and once again, China's connected to everybody in a crucial way. That was a genius move by making themselves crucial. I'm just stating facts, that's all. So if they're crucial to everyone, who that's walking hand in hand with China and relying on China is going to go against them if they end up fighting the U.S. at any stage, right? But let's read this little tidbit here. It says China's military declared Monday it is ready to fight after completing 3 days of large-scale combat exercises around Taiwan. That's what I was talking about before. They had Taiwan surrounded. And yet the U.S. continues to say, well, we're going to protect Taiwan. There's a problem there brewing, and people are not taking it serious enough. It says here, after 3 days of large-scale combat exercises around Taiwan that simulated sealing off the island in response to the Taiwanese president's trip to the U.S. last week, the combat readiness patrols, named Joint Sword, were meant as a warning to self-governing Taiwan, of course, and its allies. Who's its ally that says it's going to protect Taiwan? Who is its ally that I believe, if I heard correctly, I'm paraphrasing, said that, hey, if China takes Taiwan, we're going to destroy the semiconductors. That's interesting. Semiconductors, which also goes hand in hand with the electric vehicles, semiconductor chips, of course, electric vehicles, the electric agenda that's being pushed everywhere that can be used to control the people. Of course, the tons of money that's going to be made from semiconductors. China, they don't want China having that power over semiconductors. There's a deeper battle going on here. All right. If you look beyond the superficial. So once again, if this happens, if not, maybe it doesn't happen. If this happens, who is going to be utilizing the IMF systems, the digital systems of the Fed or any of these Western entities? Who? Now let's continue on here. It says the combat readiness patrols. Okay. Quote, the theater's troops are ready to fight at all times and can fight at any time to resolutely smash any form of Taiwan independence and foreign interference attempts, it said Monday. The exercises were similar to ones conducted by China last August. Now, let me say this. A war doesn't have to be fought with boom, boom, and pow, pow. It doesn't have to be. There's another war being fought, and it's economic. And once again, a full war can be fought just with economics, and China hasn't even begun to flex its muscle. But you see what they're doing with their currency already? They're starting to loosen up and say, hey, listen, we're not going to intervene. I had an article the other day where China was saying, we're not going to intervene with our currency too much anymore. They're not. Because why? Because so many other countries are starting to transact in yuan and not US dollar, taking power away from the US dollar. So now a lot of countries are transacting in yuan temporarily because they're coming up with a common BRICS nation currency. But at the same time, countries are dumping the dollar. They're dumping US bonds and all that, et cetera, et cetera. I tell you, you got to look deep into this. This is why the new financial system that glues everything together is going to be crucial. XLM retail, XRP, wholesale. No one controls it, but lots of people stand to make tons of money off of it. Now, there's no guarantees. I'm just putting my point of view out there, but I'm showing you why the West will not dominate in the way that people think that they will in the future. They cannot bridge everything together if they're in contention with everyone. What they're doing just looks good. The fall has already begun. People are just not seeing it happen yet. It's a slow fall. I said this in one of the videos previously. Now, Taiwan. All right. I want you, I typed this into Google, the Google search. It says, why is Taiwan leading in semiconductors? Due to its strong capabilities in OEM wafer manufacturing, a complete industry supply chain, Taiwan has been able to distinguish itself from its competitors and dominate the global marketplace. Taiwan's semiconductor sector accounted for US $115 billion. Around 20% of the global semiconductor industry. This is about power, right? Power. The new listen, all financial systems, they have to have power to force others or coerce others into using them. The US does not have that power any longer. The IMF does not have that power any longer, or at least is waning greatly right now. It's being greatly diminished right now as people walk hand in hand with China. All right? XRP is going to win. XLM is going to win. Any system that's free and neutral, right, that anyone can build on, they're going to be powerful in the future. You're going to need this because it's a multipolar world now. And if the United States continues to press China over these semiconductors and threaten them and say, if you take Taiwan, we're going to destroy the semiconductors. And remember, they tried to injure China once when they first came in conflict with China about semiconductors. They pulled all their scientists out of China that were helping the development of semiconductors. China took umbrage to that, as they should. What I'm saying, listen, you're seeing one power on a decline and one power on a rise. How can the power that's on a decline, the power that's being hated on everywhere, the government, not the people are okay, the government, how can they say we're going to run the world when the world doesn't respect you and the world power is shifting? It's shifting. So now let's go here to this little bit of information. All of this ties together. I'm trying to tie something very complicated together. The people have to understand. And that dollar, you better watch that dollar. You see, last few videos, I had a little bit of fun. But when I said cash is trash, understand that, yeah, sure, it's great in the now. Then you pull that out and it maintains a little bit of its value. It's being greatly diminished. If the dollar is diminished around the world, people stop using the dollar. It hyperinflates. Everybody dumps it. Nobody wants to use it. Then that cash that you're holding will be worthless. That's why I was joking around, but I was serious. At the same time, cash is trash when it comes to the future, and you have to watch its value. That determines whether it's trash or not. Because if it's worthless, then what's the point of holding that cash? Gold is king. Gold holds its value through everything as a survival mechanism. Is this about survival or pride for most people? You see, a lot of people are prideful, but pride comes before the fall. Now, for me, in my opinion, when I look at these things, I'm thinking about, okay, what are the possibilities of what can happen, how to survive that? Gold maintains its value throughout everything. It's proven. Gold can be used everywhere. Gold can be liquidated into any currency. And it holds its value well. Not cash. It's just this conditioning of the regular person, because cash was stable before. Really, it wasn't. I mean, the value of the dollar has plummeted over the decades. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Just go look at the historical charts. So that's why I said that. But anyway, let's move on to this here. So this shows you here why the West is willing to step on China's toes. It's about that power. It's about the future of making that capital off of everything being electric vehicles. You know, listen, this article is titled, U.S. will miss electric vehicle targets without big investments in semiconductor manufacturing. Commerce Secretary warns. And yet but the U.S. wants everyone with electric vehicles, solar panels, things of that nature. Correct? Okay, this is why they're willing to risk, one of many reasons they're willing to risk stepping on the toes of China, who can punish the West greatly and already is. The people are suffering. Let's take a look at this here. Electric cars require 2,000 chips each. But chips are already in short supply globally, adding urgency for Congress to endorse subsidies for semiconductor production, Gina Ramon says. The United States won't meet the administration's goal of widespread electric vehicle adoption. There's a reason for this. There's a reason for everything. Just like they have those cities now, they want to push the agenda where, anyway, 15-minute cities and things like that. You haven't heard about that? Electric vehicle adoption without urgent investment in domestic semiconductor manufacturing, Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo said, so it's reputable. Demand for computer chips is already far outstripping supply, a problem that will intensify the widespread adoption of electric cars, which require more chips per vehicle. There's a lot of money and power on the line here. Do you understand? You understand? Just like when people made money when they started using oil, right? They say, oh, oil, you know, is very rare, it's going to run out, and the price of that skyrockets, and all the people that were into oil made a ton of money, right? And then they scrap hydro cars and such. Like, there's problems with hydro cars, don't get me wrong, but also you can't make money because water is freaking everywhere, right? You got to convince the people that something is rare. I'm just saying, this is how you make money. But right now, that oil rush, the gold style oil rush is over, right? People already make their money. They're already established, hard to get into that industry. This is the new gold rush, electric vehicles. This is why they're willing to take the chance. But this is also why the West is one of the reasons why the West is getting isolated. Their currency is getting greatly diminished. Why no one respects their systems, not their Fed now system, not their IMF systems, which will be greatly diminished over time. I mean, just watch the catalyst. Maybe I'm wrong. And they can prove me wrong. All right. But right now, this is what it looks like. Who is going to be using their systems? And they're greatly reliant on the ones that they are calling enemies. They're greatly reliant. That doesn't work out well. But let's continue on here. Let's continue right here. So what I'm saying, they're going to continue to stir the waters over there with Taiwan because of this. It's a conflict they can't get around. And now people can believe, oh, well, China won't actually do anything. Well, they went from doing one thing to then surrounding Taiwan. That's an escalation. So it looks like they're taking action. Anyway, says she urged Congress to pass the CHIPS Act, which will authorize $52 billion in subsidies for domestic semiconductor manufacturing and research. The Senate passed the bill in June, but the House has not yet cleared it. The administration is aiming to make half of all new vehicles sold in 2030 zero-emission vehicles for whatever reason, right? A lot of power and money is going to come out of this, including electric, plug-in hybrid, or fuel by 2030. So they have no choice but to press, which means that their financial systems are going to continue to be suppressed. They're going to continue to be shunned. They're going to continue to be greatly diminished. It's happening right now. Literally, that's not an opinion. Let's go here to this. Okay, I just want to put all of this on the table because it's all connected. The new financial system, I said before, is connected to the new global system. This is from Google. I typed in, does United States produce semiconductor chips? And so this information here is from the White House itself. It says America invented the semiconductor. Oh, that's nice. But today produces about 10%. Facts, this is from the White House. Produces about 10% of the world supply. That's not enough. It says, and none of the most advanced chips. So America doesn't produce any of the most advanced chips. And of the regular chips, they only produce 10%. You see why they feel like they have to continue to stir the waters in Taiwan, and why they say, hey, look, they have this attitude of, well, if we can't have Taiwan in the semiconductors, they literally said, if China acts on Taiwan, we'll destroy the semiconductors. You see what I'm saying? It says, and none of the most advanced chips. Instead, we rely on East Asia for 75% of global production. 75%. That's power. That is power, the likes of which you can't even imagine. Now you see why these two powerhouses in the world are going at each other, even though they both have deep ties with each other, for sure. But one relies on the other way more. U.S. relies on China way more than China relies on U.S. So 75% they rely on East Asia. All right. So you tell me, if they continue to press China with all of China's BRICS nation allies and associates, so many in South America, Central America, right? I've even heard multiple times Mexico wants to join BRICS nation. I haven't had an update on that. India, multiple countries in Africa. You have some European areas softening up to China. I mean, it goes on and on and on. Russia, of course. Who's going to be using those systems? This global system that they say they want to roll out, whether it's the IMF or whoever the other, it was a company actually that is behind it, but I can't remember their name. Or FED now. So who's going to be using that? Their financial. Let's continue on here. I just want to expose why the rest of the world will not be using those global systems, but they will use XRP. They will use XLM. They will use XRPL, Stellar, Blockchain, Hedera. Why do you think they're welcoming them in mass everywhere? Because they know what's coming. They're being more realistic, putting pride to the side a little bit. This is from cryptopolitan.com. I just want to show you. This is why I don't have any fear when they come out with some system. We have a global digital system. All of everyone from that holds XRP and XLM and the bank coin should be afraid. Why? Really? That might work on some people. That doesn't work on me. It just doesn't. And all due respect, that doesn't work on me. This is from cryptopolitan.com. And it's titled, Saudi Crown Prince, the Saudis. How many articles have we covered where we heard that if Saudi Arabia stops transacting oil, with oil in US dollar's in trouble? And they recently took measures to start doing that with certain countries. This article is titled, Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince says he is no longer interested in pleasing the U.S. Just do a Google search on Saudi Arabia, the U.S. dollar, the U.S. dollar's petrodollar dominance. Just do a Google search on it. Do me that favor. You're going to get shocked. And now look at what they're saying. Not only that, I covered an article in yesterday's video, which is a pretty good video in my humble opinion, about OPEC Plus's cuts, the oil cuts. That's strategic. There's a battle happening already. They're just not fighting it with the boom, boom, pow. They're being wise because they know USA has a strong military, and what the USA does, they definitely will fight. No. They're fighting the US in every possible. I'm not talking about Saudi Arabia. I'm talking about the rest of the world is resisting the US without any boom, boom, pow whatsoever. OPEC plus cuts, US dollar dumping. A lot of businesses are leaving the US. I told you. Look it all up. Research, it goes far. And it can be a little concerning and scary. It should be. But you want to protect yourself. It shouldn't be scary, but like it's concerning, sure. But that's why you take precautionary measures to protect oneself. But I would never run away from the truth, ever. So let's scroll down here and read this little tidbit here. And then you have, I mean, the disrespect that has been shown towards a lot of countries over the last few years. Then you understand why they're like, you know what, we're done with the US. Didn't they say they wanted to make Saudi Arabia a pariah? Then you expect them to actually help you? Knowing that your petrodollar status, a lot of that is hinged on them continuing to work hand in hand with you. None of it makes any sense. Controlled demolition has been said many times. I've heard my subscribers say that it's possibly a controlled demolition. I think I'm agreeing with them. It says here, tensions are high in the global geopolitical landscape, with several nations moving away from the US dollar. But they're convincing everyone we have a globalist financial system better than the crypto system. Everyone's going to use it. Who? Everyone? Who? Who? You got to talk facts with me, IMF. You got to talk facts with me, Fed now. And anybody who backs those systems, you got to talk facts with me. Show me who's going to be using them. Oh, man. The U.S. doesn't produce anything. There's other countries where the U.S. offered protections. They're starting to get their protections elsewhere. So they don't have to worry about that. Now the U.S., what's the bargaining chip that the U.S. is using right now? You know, and like I said, the people on the ground, the regular U.S. citizens, salt of the earth, most of them, I want them to do well. I want all the people on the ground around the world. This is not about citizens. This is about these crazy governments and what they're doing, right? Let's read this little tidbit here. This is leaders from around the world have been openly expressing their disapproval. A recent report by Wall Street Journal has revealed that Saudi Arabia's crown prince, Mohammed bin Salman, has told his associates that he is no longer interested in pleasing the U.S. According to unnamed sources familiar with the conversation, he wants, quote, something in return. What can the U.S. offer them? Don't say protection. Read the articles about that. Because they're getting very, very close with China. Says he wants something, quote, something in return for any concessions he gives to Washington. The shift in attitude could have significant implications for the U.S.-Saudi relationship. U.S. is getting isolated, folks. It says, which has long been an important strategic alliance in the region. Saudi Arabia is a major oil producer. I told you about the OPEC Plus cuts yesterday. This is why I cover all of these different types of news. They're all significant. They all matter. They all have a part to play in the deployment, in the battle, in the war over the new financial system. Just most people can't see it. They're only looking at it on a crypto level. They're only looking at it on a U.S. regulatory level. And that's great. That's one level. You have to look at it on a global level because this is a global regime change, global power shift. So it says here, Saudi Arabia is a major oil producer and a key player in the Middle East, and any change in its stance towards the U.S. could have ripple effects throughout the region and beyond. And then it goes into the Saudi crown prince's problems with a specific individual. We'll leave that there. Let's continue on here. So then you have Brazil. Keep in mind, all of these countries that will not be using those new globalist systems that the IMF and the Fed thinks that they're rolling out, they all have great influence. Keep that in mind. A lot of other countries, they influence. They're in charge of a lot of powerful banks. They're in charge of a lot of powerful resources. This is from the dailyhodl.com. Brazil president expresses support for Brics Currency, their common currency. What happens when the BRICS nation finally comes out with their world reserve currency, their one currency? when they make up such a huge population of the world? India, super high population. China, very high population. Brazil, all of these countries that are signing up to become members of the BRICS nation. What happens when they all start using that common currency? What happens to the power of the dollar, which is already having problems? You tell me. These are facts. So you have Brazil. I mean, of course, they are a main member of BRICS nations, of course, but they have heavy influence, and they're calling for the common currency outright. That's a change in energy. And they're not the only one. Brazil President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva thinks BRICS countries should have a currency other than the US dollar for international trade. Let's, all I can do is give the information. That's all I can do. Companies like Ripple, Everynet, Velo, they've been positioning themselves because of this algorithm. They've been positioning themselves. They know what's coming. Hedera, look at the regions they're getting into. They have the top advisors in the world. Their native cryptocurrencies, if they hold any of it when the stuff goes off, their companies stand to make tons of money. Tons. If they hold enough. That's why some of these companies do have a good amount. You think that they have a good amount and they've been fighting the US government for nothing? You think sorry about that. You think Ripple has been fighting for XRP this whole time, spending tons of capital fighting for XRP because XRP is nothing and they don't need it? Come on now. Come on now. They're fighting for it because they know exactly what XRP is. That price will fly. I never even really put out how high I think the price can go. I just dibble dabble, you know, stay on the safe side because I know XRP pisses people off. I talk about $8 to $10, $20 to $30. And then when I got to $30 to $40, that's nothing. That's nothing. You couldn't get me to sell my XRP. Not early, and it's still early. It's really early. I know what it can do. Even if everybody else sold their XRP, I'd still be there with mine. Because I believe in myself. I know what I know. I know how high I believe it can go based on catalyst. So I'm going to hold firm. That's just personally how I feel. I'm not telling anybody else to do that or feel like I do. But the shakeout is happening right now. Psychological warfare is happening right now. This is why they put out certain information through a variety of sources and scare everybody. Oh, no, they're not going to use XRP, liquidity hub. Now they hit you with a double whammy. You see that? You pay attention to the psychological warfare? Boom, liquidity hub with no XRP. They want you out. They want to shake you up. Meanwhile, they're in court fighting about XRP. Oh, XRP is not a security. Oh, we'll settle with them if they say that XRP is not a security. Really, really. But the people somehow are led to believe XRP is not important. No, XRP is very important. I respectfully have to disagree on that. Simple as that. Simple as that. XLM is important. This is a long game of chess. Only a few are going to make it. I said it before. I believe that firmly with all of my soul. Only a few are going to make it. It's going to get hard and even harder. The global economy looks terrible. Just a fact. Unfortunately, I wish it wasn't that way. I really do. That's why I try to keep it fun on the channel. Sometimes I try to have like a good time and keep the energy up. But sometimes we have to have these more serious conversations. You know, it's not playtime. You know, that's why I always talk about protecting oneself at all times. But you can do whatever you want. Not financial advice. This is not advice at all. I speak for myself, but I'm going to protect my value at all times. I'm not taking any unnecessary risk. Because at any moment, something could happen. Boom. It could be bank runs at any moment. The world is in such a precarious position. BRICS nations, the way that the United States leaders are behaving, it's unbelievable. Controlled demolition. They're acting like they want it. They behave as though they want problems. So now let's move on here to this next article, okay? Let's get to a little bit of regular news. This article here is titled, XRP is not essential for Ripple. And this is great. It's not essential for Ripple. So they're going to make all their money off offering the exact same services everyone else offers. We move a little Bitcoin, a little Ethereum that already have good liquidity. Bitcoin Cash. Really? So the way you make money is when you offer the world something unique. When you make all the right connections because of that offering that you had that was unique. When you have the vision to see that the rest of the world will not be using the old financial system of the West, which is just Rome 2.0. They're falling. It's Rome 2.0. Their military is stretched thin everywhere. They have overspending, too much debt, a currency that easily could be greatly diminished or become worthless. Rome 2.0. And you look at that and you say to yourself, well, we got this XRPL, we got XRP. This is our key. This is what we have that is unique to us. And if the people use this around the world and that price rises up, just because we happen to hold a little bit of it, we might make a ton of money. They can buy it back, right? Not buy back. Tell me not say buy back. My goodness. But you see how they sell XRP and then they buy some off the market. They can do. That's what I'm saying. They will know before everyone when it's about to go off. That's how you make money, offering something unique, not offering the same services as everyone else. XRP is essential, in my humble opinion. Now, like I said, there's a shakeout. Of course, that shook a lot of people up. It upset a lot of people. Psychological warfare. Listen, the people at the top only want a few to get rich off of this, wealthy off of this. And they're all in on it. Retail was just a necessary thing to deal with so Ripple could stay afloat while they were fighting the rogue SEC. But XRP was never meant for retail. So Ripple itself at some point is going to try to get retail out. The volatility bringing retail. They're going to try to get them out. Just my humble opinion. I could be wrong, but that's what it looks like. Then the double whammy. They got a new globalist system. Shakes the people up even more. Right. You see this? And then articles like this come out. Right. And they try to make it reputable. They try to really, really hammer it into people's minds because they say, well, there's a top lawyer. And that means what? That means we're supposed to trust them, huh? Oh, I see. Right. People always use their authority positions to curry trust. Be careful. Sort of like a wolf dressing up his grandma. Come in. You remember that story? Come in. And you trust that. Let's go here to this next article. This article is titled XRP's large and unexpected 5.8 price spike led to nothing. No, it definitely tells a lot. Number one, a lot of people are going to take advantage of the hope that people have for XRP. So they pump it up. People put their capital in. Oh, it's happening now, and then they take your money. I said that before. This is going to happen a ton of times. But it really only affects people that are getting in right now. People that don't really believe in XRP. They're just here for a quick dollar on something that's not a quick money play. This is going to affect them, right? And also people that are playing with capital that's detrimental to them and could hurt them. Very dangerous thing, right? So it didn't lead to nothing. It led to the collection of good data, to good information, in my humble opinion. Says XRP experienced a surprising 5.8 price spike recently, a move that most investors did not anticipate. I did. A lot of people did. And we also knew it was going to go back down a little bit. There's going to be those fluctuations. They're waiting for people to bite. Unless there's a real catalyst, expect there to be those day traders there. Expect there to be the swing traders there. They're going to take your money. That's what they do. And they're very good at it. They see the opportunity. When you see a lot of big names coming in and they say, oh, first they hated an asset, now they love it. They're going to take your money. They're there for the money. They see that people believe and that there's a story to tell there, a story that the people might believe in. So they're going to take that chance that if they pump it up, they can take the people's money. So there's going to be volatility there. Just my humble opinion. Don't know if I said that eloquently or not, but you get the idea. You're looking at the chart. You see what's happening, right? Goes up is green. Next thing you know is red. Everything's red at the same time. Most of the time. I say everything, but I really mean most things. Currently, XRP is following the uptrend. That I'm not worried about. I wait until there's a real catalyst. Real catalyst. Now let's go here. See, and here's proof of what I'm saying. $1 billion worth of XRP held by Uphold in biggest asset holdings. Details. See, and this is what the people have been reading over the years. Non-believers who now say, wait a minute, the crypto industry is doing bad. Don't get me wrong. It's starting to do a little bit better now, but they start reading this months ago. Things like this. And they say to themselves, well, everything else is down, but XRP is holding. XRP has a cadre of people that believe in it. So maybe we could pump it. If the price starts going up, they might put a little money in. It's desperate times. It's desperate times. So you have to be careful. I mean, you can do whatever you want, but I try to be very careful and see what's actually there. There's always wolves everywhere. They're reading some of them are reading the same information that we are, and they're trying to take advantage of certain situations. Just how it is, you know. Says buttressing his point on how significant the XRP community is. And then you have people making statements like that. It puts a target on the XRP community's back. Says Deaton makes reference to the multi-asset digital money platform Uphold, which holds $1 billion of XRP in its proof of reserves. Noteworthily, Uphold's XRP holdings surpassed those of Bitcoin. All right. Deaton also provides the information that XRP volumes account for 28.33% of total transactions on the platform. Listen, not your keys, not your crypto. If people are holding their XRP on Uphold, listen, I always feel like not your keys, not your crypto. Learned that early on. No. Cold wallet for everything. Cold wallet. Nope, not leaving on. No disrespect. I'm not leaving assets on any of these exchanges. No. So now I want to end it off here with one of these two articles. Let's see which one is more potent. So then you have this article here. We'll close out with this one. This is from investing.com and it's titled U.S. Payment Stablecoin Bill Poses Issues Along with Advantages. I was reading a little bit about something like this. Another article, not this one. Let's read this little tidbit here. Jeremy D. Allaire, the American technologist and CEO of the digital asset company Circle, wrote on his official Twitter about the U.S. draft of the payment stablecoin bill, acknowledging it is, quote, a product of bipartisan efforts. Previously, the U.S. Congress released a discussion draft proposing the basic requirements for establishing the legal status of a stablecoin issuer, ensuring that, quote, digital dollars on the internet are safely issued, backed, and operated. Unquote. Following the publication, Allaire shared a glimpse of the draft, describing it as an extraordinary moment for the future of the dollar in the world and the future of currency on the internet. As per words of the Circle CEO, Congress's move is a necessity to sustain U.S. leading position in the crypto space. You know, Circle wants so badly to be a part of to be very close with the U.S. government that they say things that make no sense at all sometimes. The U.S. is actively chasing companies out of its country. It is crushing everything in sight when it comes to crypto, as we knew they were going to do, and they definitely followed through on that. How are they the leader in crypto at all? I don't understand that. Says currency competition is heating up. I'll say everyone's leaving to go other places. They have headquarters all over the world just in case they have to leave. They've been putting company after company out of business. It's that delusion of you have these people in history. They want to be so close to the king, They'll do anything. They'll say anything. The king could be naked. They'll say he has clothing on. I see a lot of that going on. When you should diversify, not you put all your eggs in one basket. Don't be upset when those eggs get smashed and you have nothing to eat. Anyway, it seems like that sometimes. Yeah. Currency competition is heating up and the playing field in this digital currency space race is moving extremely fast. It's time for U.S. leadership. Where's the leadership? And that means clear regulation and empowering entrepreneurship and innovation within the framework of U.S. prudential law. Interestingly, the Internet Entrepreneur also threw light upon the bipartisan sponsored hearing that is supposed to be organized in the U.S. committee the next week. Further, he posited that apart from being a boon for the country, the bill has certain challenges, stating, while comprehensive, there are clearly open and challenging issues with the bill as proposed. And now is the time for our country and political leaders to really dig in and get this right. The role of the dollar in the world is at stake. There was a part of another article I read that said that they were going to make it very, very difficult for companies to issue stable coins, which essentially means that whoever is in charge at the forefront of stable coins right now, Circle pretty much has the golden gate, the key to the door. Because they're already dominating. Didn't they chase Tether out of the United States? Something like that, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. So that puts Circle in the driver's seat. Anybody else wants to issue stable coins because of this bill, they will make it almost impossible for them to do so. Why would they even want to? Unless they're banks. Oh, unless they're a legacy system. Oh, interesting. Interesting, right? Then it wouldn't be so difficult. But Circle would still be there. So this explains why Circle wouldn't have a problem. But Circle is connected to XLM. It's connected to Stellar. So moving more of that USDC around, if people still believe in USDC, moving some of that around definitely could be good for the Stellar blockchain and Stellar wallets that will be moving a lot of that capital if we ever get regulatory clarity. So we will just keep an eye on this. We'll keep an eye on this. So now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? I know what I'm going to do with it. So until next time, let's get to the money.